Okay, let's take a look at example 3. Here we have a company that produces solar panel kits, and currently the company has a fixed cost of 100,000. Whenever you hear of fixed cost, that means that cost is going to be there all the time, whether you're producing or not. If you cost the company, and generally the fixed cost is what you see technically is the y-intercept of your linear model. Uh, it costs the company 300 to produce one solar panel kit. If the company produces X kit in a year and sells each kit for 450, which of the following expression represent the profit that the company will earn in a year? So most of these questions are common sense problems, and I want you to understand that. I want you to put yourself as a person doing the business. If you produce solar panel kits and it costs you, you have 100,000 fixed cost, and that may be employees, salaries of maybe cleaning, rent. Those are what we call fixed costs. But for each unit you produce, it's gonna cost you $300 to produce that unit. If the company produces X, you know, uh, kit a year, and they sell it at 450, they want you to find a model that really represent their profit. We're going to do this in two ways. The first one I want to do is let's call this a level 2 plug-in. So far I've shown you how to plug in stuff, but let's do a level 2 plugin. Level 2 plugin is you pick your own number and say, well, let's assume I produce 100 kits. So that means your X is 100, right? If you produce 100 kits, what will be your profit like? You know for sure the cost to you, so your cost here will be equal to 100,000 plus 300 times 100, right? You're producing 100, and so that will be your total cost. Now, how much would that be? That would be 30,000 plus that, so that will be equal to $130,000, right? That is how much it will cost you. Now you're gonna sell this for 450 a piece. So the revenue you get from this will be 450 times 100, and that will be equal to 45,000. So your profit, your profit will be equal to revenue minus cost. In this case, it's going to be 45K minus 130K, and that is minus 85K. So you have minus 85,000. This is a loss, even though you can call it a profit, it's a loss. That is how much money you make if you produce 100 in 1 year. You decided to pick 100. So what you do is you come back here and plug in X is equal to 100 and see which of them will give you negative 85,000. The model that gives you negative 85,000 is your answer. So here you use common sense to just estimate on your own as to the production manager yourself, and then come back, and because most of you are not comfortable with trying to develop the linear models or some of these models that involves variables. So the quickest way to do it is what I call level 2 plugin. Level 2 plugin means you create your own answers. Instead of taking the answers given to you, which is the previous plugin we did, then you create your own answers and use that to find. So let's go back and plug in 100. So if I go back and plug in for A, when I plug X is equal to 100, uh, I get, for A, I get, 100,000 minus 30,000 minus 45,000, and that gives me 25,000, which is not 85,000. When I plug in B, it takes me all the way through. I get negative 25,000. When I plug in C, so let's try C, because I want you to play with this and see what I'm doing. When I plug in C, so for C, I get 150 times 100 minus 100,000, and so this one gives me this gives me 15,000 minus 100,000, and this gives me negative 85,000. So obviously my answer is C. That is how I want you to do this for level 1 plugin, level 2 plugin. Now, if you are very good in algebra, as a student of algebra, this is also very easy to handle. So what you can do is, the first thing you want to do is you compute your revenue. Your revenue is going to be equal to 450 times X, right? And your cost here is equal to 100,000 plus how much it costs to produce each of them. So that would be 300 times x. So your profit P is equal to revenue minus cost, which is equal to 450 x minus 100,000 plus 300 x, which is equal to 450 x minus 100,000 minus, always watch it, this year is going to affect this, so minus 300x. Now as you can tell, I have 450x minus this x give me 150x minus 100,000, and that happens to be the answer choice for C. So you can actually solve this in two ways, but I want you to be able to do the level 2 plugin. It's quicker, it's faster, and it kind of also represent your own thinking. The SAT most of the time is asking you to think, and the questions are very easy, but you got to think. So that is how you solve such simple problems. I hope it makes sense to you.